variance-based game, like, yikes, don't do that. All right, Esper Amulet. So what this deck is doing is it is playing a bunch of cards that draw cards along with drowned secrets to eventually mill its opponent out of the game. So we've played variations of this deck before that play Chromium as a finisher, and I've never played Drowned Secrets before, and I think this is just a little bit too vulnerable in this format. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we have, like, multiple games where we just, like, don't have win conditions, but we're gonna play at least a couple and see how it goes. I would like to be on record stating that I think this win condition is much, much worse than just playing a Chromium, but let's play some matches and see. Yeah, many people lack personal responsibility. See how people respond to seeing yeah, just Sand seems fine. You keep most hands with this deck. This is like, you have like cantrips and land to cast cantrips. It's like very reasonable. Yikes! I can only assume the mono blue matchup for this deck is unwinnable. Also, this deck can't actually beat an opposing Nexus deck. We don't play Unmoored Ego because you shouldn't put garbage tier cards in your deck to fix problems that you could solve by playing better cards. Unmoored Ego is not a very good Magic card. In best of 3, every reasonable deck and reasonable player with decks that are playing combo should have a way to actually win the game through it. This deck might not be built in a reasonable way. We might just be about to get dumpstered a couple of times. In fact, maybe I should have put this one on the unranked queue. Oh, look! One of my 2 win conditions just got spell pierced. Yikes! For the record, I think this matchup is hard even for the Esper Amulet build with Chromium that we've played in the past, but I think the mill win condition makes it even worse for sure. Oh, spell pierce. Don't go piercing my heart. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah, I'm just gonna move along. We're just gonna sit here and die. I mean, I don't ever really care ultimately about my ranks, so maybe we'll just like always play ranked, but I think even the build of this deck with Chromium is like tier 2 at best, and I think this package is definitely worse than not playing it. Especially when you consider we can never beat an opposing Nexus of Fate with this deck, except for this one Dawn of Hope. Like, do I even sideboard? I'm just gonna move along. There's like no way we can win this. We just don't have tools in our deck. You can find the Blue-Black Pirates deck on my website under Standard Decks. Sounds good, Jerry. Alright, take 2. Give me a Sultai deck. Yes, people overplay Unmoored Ego for the same reason Surgical Attractions gets overplayed in Modern. No, I was never taking the weekend off. I took yesterday off. I took yesterday off to rant and complain a little bit, and then today we're back with a vengeance. We've been going for about 7 hours, and I'm planning to go for like another 7 hours or so, my body permitting. Feeling pretty good. Christy said she's gonna stop and pick up some dinner on the way home from work. I try to do my best to where when I'm in a physical or mental state where I know I'm not going to be making good content, to stop making content for that day and shake it off. So that's why I took the rest of yesterday off. Use this to add your favorite aggressively mediocre deck to the queue. Sounds good, Furious. About Arclight Phoenix and Delver, but Terramander seems really sweet. Terramander kind of seems like the second Delver those decks have wanted for a long time. The Buried Alive Phoenix decks seem interesting, though. My monitor is on my standing desk. It's just like, it sits there. Yeah, I don't really get the mill package either. But the person who submitted it promised me that they thought it was good. So, like, this is another matchup where, like, Chromium's pretty reasonable. And, like, they have Mortifying counterspells. So I'm kind of confused how I'm ever supposed to make the mill package work. I think the Gate stack will still be a viable deck in the future. If I could predict the future, I would use it for something more profitable than playing this children's card game. Standard's good, in my opinion, right now, because the balance of threats to answers is very, very good, and there is a variety of powerful strategies that you can play. The amount of lands you need for deck. You know, I don't know offhand of any resources that talk specifically about land count. That talks about colored sources, but I don't think it specifically addresses, like, you should play 24 lands, right? I think that talks about colors more than total land counts, right? Unless I'm misremembering. I'm just gonna jam this, because I don't have any counter spells in my main deck, so, like, if this doesn't resolve now, it's less likely to resolve later. Nice, Zero. Glad you're enjoying it. Kinda hickahuck, because, like, you can, what's the word I'm searching for? You can kinda use the totals, but dual lands kinda muddle the total land count for you, how many basics you want, etc. After they add best of 3 to direct challenge, I might do a certain donation can direct challenge me, but until we have best of 3 for direct challenge, I don't plan to do any direct challenges, no. Sure, but like my opinions on possibilities in the future, right, I could make kind of educated guesses, and I get that Magic players just always want the hottest of takes and they want to skip all the legwork to like actually think about things for themselves, but like Magic is such a complicated game and there's so many variables that even someone who plays as much Magic as I do, it's basically impossible for me to know what's coming up. There's so many little things that like one little card gets overlooked and it could resculpt the whole format once people like identify that card and realize what's going on. It's the same reason why during spoiler season I don't talk about things in specifics. I prefer generalities because it's really hard to talk in specifics. This game's very over. This one might be a quick deck. Like I said, I don't think this archetype, I think this archetype in general is kind of and this build seems more than usual. Although we do have infinite counter spells on the sideboard, so like, I think I'm basically just like boarding into a bad control deck here. That's what it turns into. Italian Cow, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. Welcome, I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping me around. It's like this still needs 3 more cuts. Like, do I even want Spyglass? I don't think so with the 4. I have 4 plus this. Can you make a deck that would win 100% of the time versus control? No, that's not how Magic works. Magic's got a lot of variance in it. Whenever someone tells me they've won a matchup 100% of the time in testing, my response to them is almost always the same. It's like, oh, so you haven't played enough games yet then? Because if someone's telling you they're winning a matchup 100% of the time, that means they haven't played enough games to hit the reasonable amount of variance that even if their deck is a very good matchup, that they're going to hit because Magic happens. I don't think Eldrazi was ever good in Modern. I think it was kind of a clunky deck that had okay nut draws and like players with buys played. I don't understand why you would put Tron lands in your Modern deck and then come to the conclusion you want to cast Thought-Knot Seer instead of Karn. Have you read Karn? Karn is like really good. If Vanasphere is good, it won't be good because it's a toolbox deck. It will be good because it's a linear degenerate combo deck. All right, there's one of our win conditions down. Taking their search for Azcanta off the table here is pretty good. About submitting a deck with 2 Unmoored Ego? Don't worry, the Unmoored Ego in your deck submission sideboard are not long for this world. I think I need to hold Negate up here in case they have a Teferi next turn. Yeah, I don't think Toolbox Birthing Pod decks would be good in Modern today. Oh. Maybe I'm just supposed to jam Primal Amulet this turn while they're tapped out mostly. What's going on, Zach Attack? Thanks for the 3-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Caleb Durward was playing a green-black splash red deck that seemed pretty reasonable. He was playing like Angrath and Rixie Reveler, which seemed pretty neat. Alright. Ixalan's binding into 6 land is great here. It means I can play this to try and take this out, and I can negate their counter. They took my negate. Rude. I'm gonna concede if this Ixalan's binding doesn't resolve. You saying there's a chance? Alright. Alright. Take a chance on me. Do-do-do-do-do. Be-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Weird timing on that. I love Magic players are so silly. And like, I really feel like there's a huge group of Magic players that don't understand the definition of words they're using. I just timed someone out because they complained this match of Magic wasn't interactive. A match of Magic where we literally just cast a removal spell, they countered my removal spell, and I countered their counter. What on God's green earth do you think interaction means if it isn't removal spells and counter spells? At the end of the day, those people don't really want interactive games of Magic. They just want games of Magic where they win, and anything they're not winning against can't possibly be interactive. So it's so silly. It's okay to not like the play pattern some of these decks generate. That's super subjective, but like what's going on at the moment, that was objectively interactive. It's the definition of interaction in Magic. They did a thing, I did a thing to stop their thing, they played back, I played back. Like there was a 4-card stack, 3-card stack, whatever. Your words have meaning. It's how language works. It's why we're able to communicate with each other. Ugh. It's a shame this isn't for one more, because then I could Disdainful Stroke it. Do I stroke my Nexus to keep it in my deck? I'm gonna stroke my Nexus so that way it doesn't get exiled. This triggers my Primal Amulet. So by stroking Nexus, it shuffles back into my deck. Is it weird if I stroke myself on camera? This is a little awkward, right? Sorry. Not interactive enough. Got it? Oh no! They have a Nexus of Fate of their own, so we just literally can't win the game, right? Just like, actually, no, I have one Eldest Reborn in my deck. Sorry, I have one Eldest Reborn in my deck. Alright, we're super dead. Alright, I always try to give these decks a fair shake. So, we're gonna play a third match here before we move along to Mardu Landy. Mill yourself to get closer to Nexus looping. That's interesting. I think Band Flash is sweet. I prefer the little bit bigger builds as opposed to the more mid-range builds, but they both seem pretty reasonable. It's more preference than power level. Sand's got lands and spells. Let's do it. Yeah, the donator explicitly wanted the mill win condition because they seemed pretty confident that it was ideal or at least good or playable. It doesn't seem very good though on the surface. All right, green-black. This is a matchup that's very good for the normal Chromium built of Amulet. But again, like if our win condition is Drowned Secrets, we are exposed to, you know, Vivians and trophies and stuff like that. Yeah, the build from the finals of the Open was more of a mid-range deck than a flash deck, really. Like, had a bunch of History of Benalias and stuff in it. I think I'm actually going to bin both of these, because I really just want another white source so I can cast this Nova on 5. Yeah, maybe we are supposed to mill ourselves a little bit when we first get going to like get down to the bottom. Magic players just like being different, Jerry. That's a human thing, right? It's not even a Magic player thing, honestly. Like, doing something unique makes you feel special. And, like, mill is generally bad, so, like, it's special when you get to make it work, because normally it's very bad. So, like, the goal of this deck is a combo deck, right? We're supposed to draw a bunch of cards, get Amulet set up, and then draw a bunch of cards through what we have going on. Sure. This actually works out really well for me because it lets me anticipate and then like get an untapped land to play a radical idea. Looking for an amulet at this point. The fact that they're fielding that and not our amulet land later is like A+ for us. So, like, the problem is people who are talking about, like, adding more Drowned secrets, you're thinking we're just racing them, when in reality, we only want to mill them once we've already set up to win the game. We're not supposed to start milling them or get Drowned secrets down until we're, like, looping extra turns, is what it comes down to. My last name is Milburn, and I'm very confused as to what I should play in Modern. A+ comment. Alright, so looking for a 5th land for next turn. We have Anticipate to dig a little bit. Hey, M72 the Law. Thank you very much for the tip. My version of this runs Unmoored Ego, so I can't lose to other Nexus, and Primal Amulet, duping Ego, equal I lose all of my kind. Sure, but if you haven't seen us play this archetype before, I don't think Unmoored Ego is worth playing because our win condition is bad. Rather than playing a card that's bad like Unmoored Ego, I'd much rather just put a good win condition in my deck, in this case, Chromium. This is actually one of the archetypes you can find on my website, and we just have 1 copy of Chromium to kill people with, so you're not forced to play cards like Unmoored Ego that are mediocre. Wow, that's brutal. Untapped land, come on. Thank goodness. I really need to clear the board before they get to this because I don't want them to draw a bunch of cards. It could have been, that could have been a big yikes. I think I just do this again here, right? Because I don't want them to draw a bunch of cards. Thanks, Jerry. Whenever someone feels the need to announce to me that they're unfollowing my channel, listen, if I ever do something that makes you feel the need to not watch my content anymore, that's fine. But you don't need to announce it to me. That's just the number of people that are just like, I was unjustly timed out for not following your channel rules, and I'm just letting you know, sir, that I am very disappointed, and you've lost yourself a follower. I'm gonna survive. Anyone who feels that way was almost certainly never going to give me money with the way I run things around here. You know, we don't put up with stuff like that. I think we're just digging for sweepers or amulets at this point. They have 8 power in play. All right, I mean, there's the Drowned Secrets, I guess. They've been milling themselves a little bit, which is cute. I guess with Drowned Secrets in play, cycling these Nexus of Fates technically isn't doing nothing. So honestly, the people who like announce that like I'm displeased with you and I'm leaving, like those are the same types of people that like get really upset that like best of one exists or like other things. Like it's a lot like formats in Magic, right? Like not every format of Magic needs to appeal to every player. Not every piece of content on Twitch needs to appeal to every person watching it. In fact, anybody who thinks they can appease everyone is really unrealistic. Write me back. Sincerely, your biggest fan, Stan. Yep. Tears come cold, I'm wondering why. Do 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 do. No, stop. Now that song's in my head. Now that song's in my head. Do 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 do. Am I supposed to be milling myself here? I'm supposed to be milling myself here, right? Yeah, I should be milling myself. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be milling ourselves to get down to just Nexus of Fate. And this is supposed to be the power of this win condition, right? I'm supposed to mill myself here. I'm pretty sure is what's supposed to go on. But this way, by milling myself, I can never mill my own Nexuses. They go back into my deck, so I'm just like getting rid of non-Nexus cards out of my deck, which makes me more likely to find my copies of Nexus of Fate. Hey, Phil Lee-Wan, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed. Niv with the Tree Fitty, thanks for the support. I'm displeased with you, but I'm staying here to harass you with my money because I hate you and I hate my money. God bless. God bless. So I've got 9 lands in play. This one's been in here for a little bit, so the deck queue is pretty large. I actually also don't really mind Esper in general. So at this point, I'm just dead, right? Like, they have 12 power in play. I can't do multiple things here. Oh, I guess I could draw Settle. I should take one more draw step. Or 2 Settles in my deck. I don't really have sideboard cards here, huh? It's like none of these are very relevant. Should have taken one more draw for a Settle. Agreed. Dawn of Hope is not a card that's good against aggro. Dawn of Hope spends 6 mana to make a 1/1 with lifelink, and if a 6 mana to make 1/1 with lifelink is helping you win the game against aggro, that's probably because you already spent other cards winning that game, and Dawn of Hope just happened to be the whatever was left over that could win. Dawn of Hope is a card that would win against other Nexus of Fate decks, but again, for people that are just joining us, rather than playing bad cards like Dawn of Hope to like solve a problem we've created by putting a bad win condition in our deck, we should just play Chromium instead, because he doesn't require us to play other bad cards. Don't make a B-rate card selection to like try and make up for your C-rate card selection. Like, just play better cards that don't require a fix. The Living End League was okay. The selection of creatures that we played were worse than the other ones. So probably gonna try it with Sarkins and Dragons again sometime soon. So I had 9 mana. I had 10 mana altogether. Amulet plus 4 1-mana spells is 8. Yeah, you're right. I could have done that. You're right. I could have gone Amulet into 4 1-mana spells, then Ritual of Rejuvenation gained 8. Because I had 10 mana because I had 9 the turn before. So this is like really awkward. I'm pretty sure Arena is bugged, and if I bin this Nexus, it's gonna shuffle this Glacial Fortress. If I bin this Nexus, I'm supposed to draw this card. But I'm pretty sure last time we did that, it was bugged. And shuffled this. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this, and during my upkeep, I'm gonna scry this Nexus of Fate away. For reference, when you bin Nexus off the Surveil and keep the other cards, you're supposed to draw the other card in Paper Magic. Yeah, I don't know if they fixed it. Last time we tried, it was definitely broken. Yeah, we had a couple of cuts, Turkey Sloth. There is a really complicated rules explanation for why that interaction works the way it does. But there is a string of tweets from a level 3 judge who literally makes the rules at Wizards of the Coast that I don't have a link offhand. Google it, look it up on Reddit or whatever. They tweeted it and one of my buddies linked it to me. So, the rules of Magic are convoluted in some instances like that. Yeah, but replacement of... Actually, Brad, this is where it gets weird. The quote from the L3 says that what technically happens is the rest of your deck gets shuffled, and then that card goes back on top. So, technically what happens is you shuffle everything in your deck except the one you're surveilling to the top, and then after you shuffle, you put that one on top and then draw it. Where'd my water bottle go? Lose my head, chat. I lose my head. Oh, look. Speaking of losing things, there goes my win condition. Yeah, there you go. Since you are simultaneously shuffling Nexus into the library and putting the other card on top of your library, since this happens at the same time, not one at a time, the card you choose to keep on the library ends up on top of your shuffled library. This is confirmed by Magic Rules Manor, Eli Schifrin's Twitter. Yep. Yep. Nexus of Fate isn't a trigger, which is why it's complicated. This is a replacement effect. The way you can tell if something's a replacement effect or a trigger, a replacement effect is worded like this. A replacement effect says, if this thing is going to happen, instead this other thing happens. A trigger says, when this thing happens, then the next thing happens. All right, I'm off this deck. I agree. I agree. To have a concise wrap up, my gut feeling that the way this deck is built feels much worse than the build with Chromium feels very true. I think this archetype in general already struggles with ways to get this flipped over, and then when you add in the fact that like your win condition is susceptible to a lot of those things as well, it feels really bad. All right, we had a line cut for Mardu land destruction, so let me grab that out of the queue because it wasn't in my pre-prepared this morning. Oh no, this is what happened when people do cuts. There's no sideboard for this deck. Yikes. Sometimes I tell people I'll build sideboards for them, so now I have to take a second and build a sideboard. I'm just gonna go, like, copy most of what's in the sideboard of the red-white land destruction deck. Bash Jeff knows what's up. He wouldn't steer me wrong. No, I have no desire to spend 60 hours, 60 to 80, or probably even 100 hours a week trying to get to the top 8. I think that part of their announcement is really terrible, and people grinding to try and get those top 8 slots is gonna involve either people cheating by account sharing or create some very unhealthy behaviors for people, especially as you lead up towards the end. I think it was irresponsible of Wizards of the Coast as a company to put that kind of cut in there. Just wanted to show some support. You're the best, and if someone says otherwise, bolt them. Thanks for the bits, Pinky. Duress to fight blue base control actually sounds great. Let's use this Black Splash. Let's vet the mana really quick here too. $15 and how many white? Oh, this is the problem with cut the lines. I have to do surgery on screen. I always pride myself on being prepared, so I do surgery like this off screen. It's like I have to fix the mana on this deck now too. Joke's on you, my behaviors are already unhealthy. God bless, at least you know. Alright, I'm actually gonna add a tapped land here too. Just because I want to make sure I have plenty of. So this is 17 white sources. Ideally, I want 17 white and 17 black. This is only 15, so let's go 16 and 16, I guess. Alright, let's just do this and get a feel for it. I don't want to spend forever doing this, because 1, it's boring, and 2, it just turns into people shouting terrible cards at me. Add another.